My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my ranking of the Transformers franchise from worst to best, and this video will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But let's talk about the worst one, and it's easily Transformers Rise of the Beast. I keep forgetting that this movie even exists. Like, it came out last summer and it left no impression whatsoever. This is a bland, generic, forgettable movie. It felt like a poor imitation of Michael Bay's Transformers movies. I didn't like the new cast. Anthony Ramos is just not a good actor. I thought the action did nothing for me. It's just terrible in every single way. The second worst one is a hot take, but I gotta be honest, and it's The Transformers, the movie. Now, look, I never watched the TV show, so watching this movie was like watching season 4, episode 7. I'm just thrown into the middle of all this plot and all these characters, and I just never cared about anything going on. Optimus dies, and it just had no weight to me, and it was just a bunch of noise. The animation is fine, the action is never exciting, so I really hated this movie. The one saving grace is that it's only 80 minutes long, so thankfully that's the case. The third worst Transformers movie is Transformers Age of Extinction. And this movie does have its moments. I actually kinda enjoy the first 40 minutes. There's a scene where they have to go from this alien ship to this building that is very intense. And I like the very end of this movie where there's the alien ship and everything is coming up and dropping. And then the way they end up defeating Galvatron was very entertaining. So it has its moments, but holy shit, this is the most overlong, bloated movie of this franchise. Like, between the humans trying to make Transformers and everything with the bounty hunter and just everything else going on, it's too much. It really is, and I feel like it lacks any bit of focus. It's very messy, and as much as I want to enjoy the end of this movie, getting to that point just had me checked out. And even the CGI isn't great here. So, yeah, it's not good. It's very bad. But the rest of the movies I mention will be movies I actually enjoy. So, the sixth best Transformers movie is Transformers The Last Knight. And look, this movie shares plenty of issues with Age of Extinction. This movie is convoluted. There's too much going on. It is messy. It is bloated. But all that said, I still think that there's plenty to appreciate here. Like, so many movies today just look so ugly, and say what you will about this movie, but it has a real vision behind it. This is a movie that looks and feels huge. It is a spectacle. I also love how stupid this movie can be. I actually do laugh a few times. I like Anthony Hopkins here. But I actually think it's a movie that gets better as it progresses. that entire section where they're underwater and then everything else happens is very entertaining. Maybe nothing new for the franchise, but still very entertaining. And yes, the Optimus Prime turning evil plot goes absolutely nowhere, but I don't know, like this is a movie where I see the flaws, I acknowledge it's a mess, but there's too much here that I love, so I still enjoyed warts and all. The fifth best Transformers movie is probably a hot take, but it's Transformers 1. Like, I'm surprised by how much people seem to love this movie. Like, I enjoyed it, it's fine, it's entertaining, but I don't think there's anything great here. There is some interesting ideas, and in some ways, it kind of reminds me of X-Men First Class about how Optimus has more peaceful ways to deal with things, while Megatron has more radical ways. And it's like these two people with similar beliefs going very different paths. That is a good idea, and I do like it in theory. But in execution, I just thought it lacked the weight it so desperately needed. And I thought Megatron's transformation, was incredibly rushed. Like, at the beginning of the movie, he's like, oh, Sentinel's the best, and this, woo! I love being a slave to the system, woo! But then he finds out that it's all bullshit, and he goes from 0 to 100, just like that. And I didn't really buy it. And like even at the end of the movie, he saves Optimus for a moment, and then his eyes turn red, and he's like, I'm tired of saving you. Like, I don't know, I just thought the character work was kind of weak. I like the idea, but And Optimus, I get what they're going for, that he is naive. He has this hopeful optimism, and how that allows him to become a good leader. I just needed a bit more. Like, I don't know, you watch this movie and I kept waiting for it to get great, and I think it could have gotten there, but it just never takes it to the next level. The animation I like enough. It's not my favorite style I've seen. I do think the scene where Optimus is falling is actually the best looking moment, and the action is very underwhelming. There's one scene where Alita gets thrown to a building where she transforms and then rides on the windows and jumps out, and I'm like, yes, that was great. But we don't get really any other scenes like that, and the humor sucks. So, I don't know, it's a pretty big mixed bag, but I still enjoyed it enough. It's just not great. Speaking of hot takes, my fourth favorite movie here is Bumblebee. And this movie is very cliche. It's nothing new, but it does a perfectly fine job at everything it's trying to do. It's E.T., it's Monster Truck, it's The Water Horse. It's a movie we have seen so many times, but it does manage to be charming. Some of the humor lands, some of the action is entertaining, but I think what really keeps this movie above Transformers 1 is Haley Steinfeld. She is such a great, likable, charismatic actress, and she carries this movie incredibly well. And yeah, I enjoy this movie enough. And speaking of hot takes, my third favorite movie of the franchise is Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Now, I love the first half. everything with Sam going to university and him just being like, that was great. Love it. Everything with the mom being high on the campus is great. I love it. The human transformer, great. Love it. The scene where they're getting chased through the school, great. Love it. The scene where Megatron is trying to get the information from Sam, very disturbing, great, love it. The forest scene, very intense, very exciting action scene, great, love it. So the first half, great, I love it. Second half, it does feel a little bloated. Like, I think the final 45 minutes is just non-stop action, and you do grow numb to it. It's still entertaining, and I really do like Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox in these movies. And come on, the construction Decepticon with the wrecking balls is hilarious. But I also thought the final battle was like way too short, and yeah, I still liked this movie far more than most. I'm kind of confused by the hate, to be honest, but I have a good time. But my second favorite movie of this franchise is the original Transformers. Like, this was a cartoon, and Michael Bay made it feel epic. And I love how this movie starts off as a story about a boy who gets a new car, and then it transitions into this huge blockbuster by the end, and it's so well handled. I love the vision on display, the effects hold up, I love these characters, they're very entertaining, and yeah, like, I just think this movie did everything it needed to incredibly well, and it's just a very entertaining movie. Maybe it has a bit too much going on, and I'm not the biggest fan of the action here, but it's still very exciting when Sam is holding the Allspark and he's running through the city, getting chased by Megatron. Like, that stuff is really great. And I do like the Archibald Witwicky, the Hoover Dam plot, and just everything going on. Like, it's actually a very ambitious movie, and I appreciate that. But look, the best movie of this franchise is easily Transformers Dark of the Moon. This movie is fantastic. I love how the first half of this movie is just setup. And then you get all these cool reveals that Sentinel Prime is actually evil, and the Decepticons actually win for a bit, and you think the Autobots are dead. So then everything is just rock bottom. And then you get the second half of this movie, which is just pure non-stop action. It's just a very well structured and paced movie. I think some of the humor is hilarious. I like the fact that they gave Sam a human villain to face off against, and how there's a personal angle there. I think Shia LaBeouf is just so great in these movies. He is so loud and over the top, but he's entertaining. I also like how this movie cuts to black a lot, and it kind of makes it feel very dark in moments. I do like how Megatron has more character in this movie. I do like how the humans actually have ways that they can take down the Decepticons. They don't feel useless. I love the fact that Sam is willing to sacrifice himself to save Carly. I think it's a great evolution of the character and how far he's come. I think the music by Steve Jablonsky is great in all these movies, but especially here. And the action is just exceptional. That freeway chase scene with Bumblebee is fantastic. I love the scene when they're on the building and they're sliding down and they have to shoot the glass and then they have to grab onto something as they fall through it again. Like, just very exciting stuff. But my favorite moment is when Optimus Prime flies down and he just takes out everyone as the music picks up. It is wonderful to watch. And I also love it when the wing jumpers jump out of the helicopter and they're making their way through the city. It just feels big and epic and it's exciting and there's more emotion here and you feel the weight of everything going on. And I just think this is one of the best blockbusters of the past 15 years. I love the spectacle, I love the vision on display, and it's just so much fun. And to top it all off, we got Monster by Paramount in the end credits. Like, what more could you ask for? So, yeah, I love this movie, and that's why it's my number one. But what's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin,